Hello everyone. In this video we are going to see a very important topic in any programming language. You are going to see about functions, and in this video we are going to see about functions in Java. As a professional programmer, you have to be very well versed in this topic. So in this video we are going to discuss about how to define a function. You are going to see what are the components available in the function with some explanation, and then you are going to see how it works, and finally we are going to see about return statement. So first we will see what is a function. A function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. So it will be available in the program. A function will be a group of code which will be available in the program, but it will not be executed until you are calling it. So it will be called by its function name, and then you can pass data known as parameters to the function. Not only you can execute the function, you can also pass the input as parameters and get executed, and then expect the output from the function. So normally you use a program like factorial of a number. You can pass the number to the function factorial and get the result factorial of a number after executing it. The function are used to perform certain action. So you will do some specific purpose, that is you are going to do some specific task. You can use functions. They are also popularly known as methods in Java. Now we will see defining a function. You will have these are the components available. You will have access specifier, then you will have return type, you will have method name, then you will have parameter list within parenthesis, then inside the curly braces you will have the body of the method, and then finally the return statement. Now you are going to see an example here. You will have access specifier public. You can see return type is integer, and then the method name add, and within parenthesis you have the parameter list, and then the body of the method, and then finally the return statement here. So we will be discussing it in the next slide. So components of a function. So first you are going to discuss about what is function prototype, what is function signature, what is access specifier, and then return type, function name, parameter list, method block, and return statement. So we will be seeing as an example, and we will be discussing all this. So what is a function prototype? That's the first topic. The header line. So you can see the public int addition, then within parenthesis int operand 1 comma int operand 2 and close parenthesis. This full line you call it as function prototype. So what do you mean by prototype? Is set of rules. So you will have some format here. Okay, you should have a modifier, you should have a return type, you should have a function name. These are all some rules that has to be followed. So you call it as it is a function prototype. And now the second topic is function signature. So what is function signature? It will have a function name and the parameter list. So only these two. Okay, you call it as function signature. So what is the necessity of function signature is in the concept of function overloading. You will have many functions with the same function name, but differs in the number of parameters or the type of parameter. In that you will show some difference in the signature. So that's the reason they use the word signature, function signature. Then we will be seeing about access specifier. So you got three types of access specifier: public, protected, and private. You can use any one of this. So if you use public, this function will be visible to all the functions, that is all the functions inside the program, that is inside the class or outside the class. If you use protected, this function will be available in the class as well as in the inherited class. So in the concept of inheritance, you can declare another class and inherit all the member functions. So this function can be inherited if you declare it as protected. If you use private keyword, it will not be accessed outside the class. It can be accessed only within the class. That is, you can access it within the functions, other functions, but you cannot access it from outside. Okay, that's about the access specifier, or you can call it as modifier. Next is return type. So if you find any primitive data type like integer, double, character, string, or anything, then you will expect some data to be returned. That means this return statement will be available, which will return a value. Suppose you are not going to return anything, then you will have void. Okay, void means it doesn't return anything. Okay, if you specify void, then you won't have this return statement. You will have a normal system or output statement where you will display the output in the function itself. Then you will have method name. So this is an important part of the function. This function will be called only through this method name. So you have to be vigilant to use the method name which you should be related to the program. So if you are using addition, that function should be based on some addition process. And then open and close parenthesis, inside that you will have parameter list. So you can notice that each and every parameter is defined or declared separately, individually. So it is not like integer operand 1 comma operand 2, it is integer operand 1 comma integer operand 2. That means you have to define individually how many ever parameter you have to declare it individually and use it in the program. And then you will have body of the method where you will have the statements to do some specific task. After that, finally you have a return statement. So we will be discussing about return statement later in this video. This return statement is used to return a value. So after processing, you will find a result that will be returned to the called function. Now we are going to see the working of a function. You will have two functions here. One is the main function, which is defined in all the programs, and you will have a user defined function which is used for some specific task. So this one you call it as a calling function. Okay, this main function you call it as calling function, and this will be known as called function. So from calling function you are going to call the method by its name. Okay, once you specify my function, that is a function which has been declared here, when you execute this line, it automatically transfers the control to the function. It searches for the function and it finds it, and then it will execute the body of this function. So after executing the body of the function, after completing this function, if you have, whether you have a return statement or not, it goes back to the main function and executes the remaining statement below the function name. If suppose you have some lines to be executed after the function is executed, then it will go back to that and it will start executing it. This is how the function works. Now we are going to see some features of return statement. So the return statement, normally it is applied at the end of the method from where it terminates. So once you use return statement, it will indicate that is end of the method. So it won't execute more than that. So that's when proof you can see down. No statement in the method can be executed after return statement. You can see an example here of a function. Okay, just ignore what is there. Just see only this return part. Return sum is there, and below the return sum you can see a line which will not be executed. So that's the reason when you compile this, you can see unreachable statement. So this will be the last line in the function. After that you cannot execute any other statement. Next is, it can only return a single value from a method to its caller. So from main method you are sending some data, and you are going to send only one value, result value, to the caller method. So for example, if you write return sum comma sub, that means two variables are returned here. So once you compile, you can see close parenthesis expected. This is an error which shows here. When you try to return two values, that is two variables, you can only return only one value here. Next one, a function may have more than one terminal points. That means you can have more than one return statement. Okay, but any one return statement will be executed. In some specific cases, like if statement, you can have two return statement. So suppose the condition of the if statement is true, it will execute the first return statement which follows if. If the condition is false, it will execute the return statement below else. That means it will not execute both the return statement, it will execute any one. So this is permissible. So it will allow you to do this. In case of multiple return statement, only one of them can be activated to return the control. So here you don't have any statement. In this case you expect both return statement to be executed, but it will not happen. Once the first return statement is executed, it will terminate the function. That means this is an unreachable statement. Next is, if the function doesn't return a value to the main function, then the return type or the function header should be indicated as void. Suppose you are not going to return anything to the caller function, then you have to specify that as void, which means it returns nothing. The function returns nothing. So in this case, what you can do is you can use output statement system.println and print the output there itself. Okay, when you compile it, you can see there is no syntax errors. Okay, so hope you understood this video. We'll meet you in the next video of functions. Till then, thank you.